I've wanted my loved ones to come along, and maybe they just can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm very enthusiastic about this new life,
Mm-hmm.
and but I also understand people running across something that spooks them and they can't go any farther.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why I find I'm being very careful about what I share about it. And in what way. I just came across a situation where somebody got spooked like that, and it really pisses me off, to be honest. It's like, oh my.
No charge to it.
Yeah. It shows up like something else. Morning.
Shows up like something else to who?
Well, yeah. The feedback as worded covers up something else. Because here's the thing that I've realized is that the deeper you go into your own life, the more intimate it gets. And intimacy is a really scary thing for human beings. It's as if we spend our whole lives trying to avoid it.
That makes sense.
The story goes this way. It's like when Adam and Eve ate of that tree, they realized they were naked and they went and hid. So you've got naked and hiding. And
Mhm. What's the experience of that? What would be the feeling that would cause that when they speak about it there?
yeah, being exposed, like something was exposed.
Mhm. Ashamed is what I get. It's like they're-
Yeah, yeah.
So a feeling of ashamed. Ashamed feeling. So ashamed is hiding from, running from, avoiding, keeping distance, scared, fear.
But here's the thing too. It's kind of the way the story's told. It's kind of like as if they experienced something that a human being had never experienced before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it scared the shit out of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Oh, made aware, right? Aware.
Yeah, yeah.
God
You know,
was
the
pissed.
ability to share or the ability to choose as an individual can be a real bugger.
Mhm.
You know, like, it can be.
And if you're not choosing that way, like how you spoke that, then that can be a bugger too. It's just different. I mean, think about it. If someone doesn't want to go with you, Craig, right? Or like see what you've seen, that's a choice, right? And from your point of view, what are they living? How are they living? What are they choosing?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of people who I've invited to come with me, and initially they said yes, and then later on they just said no. I'm not going any farther. You know, and here's what's coming to me around this too. It's kind of practicing the thing of bringing one person at a time, or inviting is a better word, inviting one person at a time. And the potential is that eventually multitudes will come. But it starts small.
Yeah. I wonder why it has to start small.
The word foundation came to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, it's not about the shame, but it's about how that was interpreted.
That, what was that? Not a Neve story or the
Well, how that experience was interpreted, how that or maybe it's that it was interpreted at all. So the question I'm asking is what part of us gives things meaning?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
You know, if your mind, or even more specifically, if your brain, if your temporary cognitive is giving things meaning, Or is your heart giving things meaning? You know, is that either or? Is that either or giving things meaning, or is the both and giving things meaning?
I don't think the heart gives meaning. I think it only gives love.
Mm. Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think meaning is what we put in the gap in between two things.
Ah,
In the structure, meaning is what we put in the structure. So then you say meaning becomes the tension.
mm.
The gap, the force between the two. So think of something that you like, there is no meaning to it, you don't know it, such as a foreign language. You drop yourself in the middle of a tribe of speaking a whole different language.
Mm.
Recall the experience. Did someone use a word that you didn't know what it meant?
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
I mean, has there ever been an experience in your life that you can recall that someone used a word and you didn't know what it meant? The meaning of that
Oh yeah.
word.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What does that feel like?
Um, kind of like suspended reality.
Yeah, it's like if you're just holding one into the rubber band and it's just kind of hanging there. There's nothing
Yeah.
to attach to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you
Yeah. It's got
notice
no
it,
context or anything.
we really try to pin it on something, and what we do is we pin it on something we're familiar with, and ultimately that's what we do anyway, right? That's so if it sounds like another word, we'll make up that it's connected to that word and we pin it on something. Now there's a force between them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you just said something key as well, as we pin it to something we're familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So we pin it to some kind of past reference.
Of course we do. Have to. And then now we've got some tension to it. Oh, and then we feel better about it too, don't we?
Mm. Yeah, and even that expression is revealing that way too, because we use the term better. Right? I feel better. So it's referencing something else as well.
For sure, right?
Yeah.
Some sort of more than likely in our society, it's some sort of ashamedness to it, just like naked and hiding. And there's degrees of people that will be so curious about what that new word means. And there'll be some that are so stubborn that said, I don't need to know. I know what it means without knowing what it means.
Mm.
And just multiply that pattern every day for however long you've been alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
On everything you are familiar with, you've heard in your life, you've known. And like that is the mechanic of life. I don't think we can undo, I don't think we can change
No,
that
no, we
aspect
can't
of it.
undo it.
Yeah.
That's what's so frustrating.
Well, the frustration is in the gap. It's the relatedness to it. It's in the definition, right? So in the new word that we don't know, someone might say, might not even be curious to learn from that person what that new word is, because they have to always know the right answer.
Yeah.
So one, that's a pattern, right? That's a pattern in their life of not curiosity. And it could be for someone that they, their training was they always have to have the right answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is a meaning of themselves. Just a meaning that they've locked in to protect themselves. Every one of us does it. Just differently. Just
the hide
differently.
behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's in our culture as of today, right? Because we can only look back at the history, but not really. And it doesn't do anything to unpack it. What only really matters is to see what charge are we putting in the gap. And the gap is the definition. So what charge are we putting in the definition? And really that's the choice point, is do I want to change the charge?
Yeah.
That makes it so much easier when we just look at changing the charge, because there's so many different stories.
Yeah.
So many different definitions that we've connected to certain things. I mean, and that is how sloppy language is.
Yeah, because it becomes automatic.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where, yeah, once it gets going, you can speak without having to even think about it.
Bingo. And that's where we're at, where we speak about it. And when those feelings come up, we just don't pay attention to them.
Yeah, we
They
drown them out with
control
noise,
us.
their own noise.
Or they control us, and then we run other noises, or we change the meaning, right? We think about something else. It's one guy came out and said that's the color blue, and enough people came around to come into agreement that was blue.
Yeah.
Without ever even knowing how someone else could see it. It's
Yeah, so we're kind of
fascinating.
lost in the language too.
Yeah, it's so fascinating when we really wonder about it that way. And if what we see is our reality, right? We're shaping it with words and stories and feelings. And that's why, I keep choosing to pay attention to charge, because I haven't found anything better.
Which might be the reason why it's there.
Mm-hmm. It's so simple because it's attached to everything else, which means it's the one thing that has some foundation, some stability.
Yeah, how else will your body communicate with you?
Yeah, I think so. Well, especially communicate with you when you're not paying attention to it.
Yeah.
That's the big one. And it's hard for someone to grasp. What do you mean I'm not paying attention to my body or what it's telling me? Well, I'm not paying attention to the charge. I'm not paying attention to what I'm feeling, right?
Yeah.
Name it. Name the feeling you're feeling. Crickets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a level of how aware people are. In charge, because charge reveals what people are making up.
Yeah, and it also tells the truth.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
You can't handle the truth.
And what's cool is those that are listening to it are aware of charge. Don't have to bring it up. And they can. But it's really like a superpower. And I don't think there's anything to do with positive charges, except for honor them, foster them, do more of them, right? Create new
Yeah.
patterns to have more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if someone's got a positive charge about it and I have a negative charge about it, well, I can ask them about it and see if that can flip my charge. The only different bad is the spelling.
Say that again. I missed that sentence.
The difference between good and bad is the spelling.
The spelling. Yeah. Good morning, Ellie.
Let's try it
Oh,
out.
good evening.
Hello.
Hi, Ellie.
Hi guys, how you going?
Deep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you caught a good one.
did I? What have I missed?
Yeah.
Fill me in.
The last thing Jesse said was the only difference between good and bad is the spelling.
Oh. Okay.
Now we get to say, oh, what does that mean for you?
I have no idea.
And how does that make you feel?
It's a new concept, that's for sure.
Is it true?
I wouldn't say so.
But no,
The
it is
difference-
true. It's like they're spelled different, aren't they?
Yeah. The total
So that's-
different emotions, though.
Uh,
Different frequencies, the different energies.
But are they?
Good.
Are they?
When you do something good and you do something bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because your heart knows. Your heart knows when you've made a mistake.
Mm. Does it?
Mine does, for sure. That's your indicator. That's what God gave us as our indicator, whether or not we're on the right path or not, whether we're connected to source or not. Is how we feel. So I would say, yeah.
So why did you use the word mistake?
Because when you do things in life and the physical world, And then you think, fuck, I shouldn't have done it that way. You know, it's just human nature. We do that. We're probably the only species in the world that do it.
You know, that's interesting because I had a little interaction with someone the last day and a half or so, and I had been kicking myself because I thought I made a mistake. So I took a look at that and I went, but did I really?
How did it make you feel?
Disappointed. But I'm not sure if that was disappointment in myself or disappointment in the other or both.
And our society says, well, disappointment would be bad.
Well, yeah. And so when I looked at it, I went, no, it's not good or bad. It's just information. It's just feedback.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's a
to it.
byproduct of living in the unknown, right?
Yeah.
You need constant feedback because you don't really, the feedback kind of becomes your North Star in a way.
Mm-hmm. Just like Ali said, like we have to know the direction, right? It's like, oh, do I keep doing that or do I not do that again?
Yeah.
You know, as those rumble strips on the side of the road that wake you up before you go into the ditch.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not, so I wouldn't call that a mistake. I'd call it an alert.
Mm.
Or an early warning system.
That's what it is. It's our indicator.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
like when we don't tune into it, the fucking universe gives you more of it till you bloody tune into it.
There you go. Bingo.
Well,
And
here's
so
the thing for me too.
And some people have to lose everything. Some people just dig and dig and dig. And then other people hit rock bottom and then rise.
Yep.
Yeah, what came up for me is can I just allow that to be what it is and let go of the pressure to ascribe some meaning to it.
Yeah.
Because that's a pattern that I've been living in, is that everything has to mean something. And it's interesting when it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, like you said too, it's just feedback. It's just, yeah, just information.
And we attach ourselves to those. We take it personal. We make it personal. We don't see that it's good and bad.
Or we don't see that it's neither one.
That's right. We usually just attach
And
to
both
one.
at the same time.
And that comes from our definitions. How do we define in between two things?
Yeah. The context
Ellie,
we've given it. Yeah.
that's right. So the definition or the charge of things, the feeling, are in between the words. So I imagine, Allie, you come across words that you don't know what they mean.
Yep.
And what's it like when you're aware of a word out there but don't know what it means?
Confusion.
Hmm?
You feel silly. Just causes more confusion.
Hmm.
Good old Google.
Mm-hmm. And what happens when it's like, then you find, or like what happens when it's like, oh, that's what that means.
Yeah. And then you find so much more meaning to so many other things that you can associate that with.
Mm-hmm. See, there's the association. You were able to make an association. You connected it. So it's like that word you don't know is like a rubber band just hanging there. You're holding on one point of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gravity's got the other point. There's no tension. So when we don't have a meaning, there's no tension. There's no emotion in it. But then there is, because there's emotion in not knowing. But the word itself has none. And so we take that, when we see that meaning, then we take that other end of that rubber band and attach it to what we're familiar with.
Yeah.
Fascinating process.
Really is when you describe it like that.
And then that rubber band will attach those other emotions with that rubber band. And we've just filled in the space of that charge. And we'll never forget that charge. We may forget the word. And that's how good and bad works.
Hmm.
So those things we know as good or bad, we've described them, prescribed them, probably prescribed them. And we usually lock them in like that's the only way.
I just got this. This is really funny. So the tendency is to fill the space with verbiage, which is the shortened form of verbal garbage.
You know, that's making meaning of it. That's associating a meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think we can put an emotion around it without a meaning to it.
But we can
I think
learn.
that's, yeah, and then that's the concept. It's like you said, what you said, Craig, was just to look at how it is completely different than looking at it if it's good or bad. Because as it is looking at it from both of those. Well, how is this good? How would this be bad? How would I want this? How would I not want this?
Or even to just leave it alone.
Yeah, that's an option too.
Allow
Continue
it.
to think that, the creator creates space. That's all the creator does is create space.
Maybe that's what Abraham Hicks is saying.
And to me, that's the best from an abundance perspective is to create potential, create space.
Yeah, and allow that space to be as it is. As
Yeah.
is.
But to notice that we're making up something about the space. And if you brought someone else to look at it, they probably wouldn't see it the same way.
But we don't have to.
Don't have to what?
We don't have to ascribe a meaning to the space.
That's right.
And just allow it to be as it is.
Mhm. That would be neutral, right? And if you're talking about before Adam and Eve ate of the tree of what was ever the tree was.
Good and evil.
Yeah, right. And then it was all of a sudden aware of how they were.
Aware of
Because it
how they
was
were or aware of good and evil.
well, how they were, right? Which must have brought in that emotion to it. I mean, because they were naked before that, right?
Yep. Just not aware of it.
That's the point.
Or it wasn't significant.
Mhm. right? It didn't matter. There was no meaning to it. And that meaning dictates and really drives that charge. That charge is just a pattern we put in place that we, as a child, that we've never looked at or re-examined. In today's society, because you had to know the answer. What are you getting, Allie?
Space.
Hmm.
Filling up the
Space?
space.
Did you say space?
Yeah. Just filling it up.
So does it have a feeling? Does space have a feeling?
Yeah, really light. It's a really light feeling.
What can happen in that space?
It just gives it room, gives you room for more expansion. Room
Yeah,
to
just
let
by
it open.
keeping it open, right?
Yeah, by keeping it open.
Resist the urge to fill that space with something.
Yeah, like negative thoughts or things that's happened or
Not like
things that you've
thoughts at
done.
all.
Or thoughts at all, yeah, just thoughts in general.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Now, there's always a charge behind that.
Yeah.
And we got to have the charge. I think, like, you support Allie, that it gives us the direction, the feedback.
Yeah. Because the better we feel, the better our physical bodies feel. Because we're just a reflection of how we feel inside.
And the word love, what does that make you feel?
Like open.
So as association, that's a good association as with the space.
Yeah.
And then hate, how does the hate, that word hate, that emotion attached to hate for you?
Well, it's closed.
Mhm.
It's closed and dark and
It's like, oh,
constricted. Like it's constricted.
yeah. So we can sit back and say, huh, which one of the like of those two charges, which one do I want in my life?
Yeah. What am I feeling right now? Which end am I focused upon?
Yes.
And why?
That's the beauty of charge, because we can have we can have the whole spectrum of any thought. It'll only be one of those two feelings.
Yeah.
The third one is neutral.
Overcomplicate it.
Oh, we do, without a doubt.
Very overcomplicate it. Yeah.
And that's confusion, right? That's the monkey mind that can focus on anything.
Yeah.
And any of that just obviously takes us out of the moment of now, which is the experience. You only can feel now, which is what we're living for anyway. And you think of the word I desire, I want.
Yeah.
That's a positive. Space.
Yeah.
Maybe a neutral space.
We're not conditioned for it to be neutral. I don't think there's anything wrong with a positive space and being in a positive space. I think it is where life is lived.
Yeah. That's where we need to be reaching for that. We need to be reaching for
think so.
that
Yeah.
all
But we
the
can't
time.
be there. We can't be there all the time, I don't think. So a second best is neutral. Just so that
Yeah.
we know, because it's easier to move from neutral.
Yeah.
I think all that space is in neutral. Like Ellie, like you saw, is like that space is neutral for us. So that as it comes to us, we can easily flip from the
Yeah.
negative into the positive.
Yeah. And it's trying to stay neutral when you're in the lower energy or the
Yeah.
lower mood when things are going on around you and you're trying to hold on and stay open and all the good stuff.
Yeah.
It's easier to stay in neutral than to try and find a really positive thought, because you can't get there from there.
Yeah, that's my point. Is that by calling it a positive space, you actually make it an either or space. It's boxed in with a definition.
Yeah.
And boxed in that it has a transition between the two. That's boxed in it. So bringing in a third point is always, always powerful. Because 3 is more space than just 2 box, like 2 points.
Yeah.
The meaning making machines we are. And I use the machine as the playing it over and over as a pattern, as a program. Because the one certainty that we do is what we did last time. Good or bad, right? Good or bad.
Yeah. The best with what we've got and what we've learned.
All that does is builds the moment of now, does nothing for the future.
Yeah.
So do we derive meaning from our knowing? Or do we derive meaning from what we've made up?
Well, I guess a part of it's from what we've made up because we're consciously focusing on what it is that we want to create, partly that, but then the other part is the knowing that comes from within you, you know, so kind of a bit of both, because the knowing's there with the faith and, you know, all the good stuff to go along with that. But then you have to, consciously choose as well. So you have to, it's kind of both parts playing together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can follow you. I can,
You
and yes,
following?
I can go with you. And then it had me question, well, you must know you're knowing much more than I do.
Really?
I don't know. It's not very clear to me. It's more like an urge. It's more
For
like
me,
a
that's the
draw.
transition. That's the transition that we're all going through right now.
Yeah.
Is kind of we're kind of working on both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's
But
why
the
it's like,
evidence,
that's why I think it's such a horrible word to use, knowing, because I don't think we know.
we don't.
Mm.
Yeah, I think we do. Depending on what it is. Like yeah.
That's funny because I think we know more than we can imagine that we know. In fact, we
I
already
don't.
know more than we imagine we know.
Yeah.
We just don't trust it.
Yeah. And that's why the
So then is it
society
really
said,
knowing?
Well, yeah.
yeah, because the guidance system's there. It's born with us. God gave us that. The universe gave us that as a human
That's the three
experience.
G's.
Yeah, yeah, it's part of the human experience. So that individuation, that individual, that society has, turned us into as a whole structure.
Mm-hmm.
But when we just come back, not even back, when you just open up and look up to the light, it flows through us, to us, and through us all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what we're transmitting.
See, I'm sure there's part of me that knows everything that there is to know. I'm sure of that. But I really don't live there
That's
yet.
a big claim. That's a big
I know.
claim.
Well, I know it's a big thing, but I know it's a big claim. But what I'm saying is, I don't live there yet. I'm not.
You're not there.
I'm
Do you
not ready.
think Buddha
I'm
got there?
not ready to live there.
Do you think
But
Buddha
look
got
at,
there? And Allah?
look at
and all the...
muscle testing and look at how it tells you the truth about everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So I know
same
there's
with the...
there's part of me that knows.
Yeah. It's funny. So funny.
And that's what we practice here every day is playing in that knowing that we're not aware of.
Yeah. Maybe
That's
it's
a
more
playground.
like the field, right? The field, you have access to it.
Yes, exactly. And it's not, that knowing isn't inside of me, but it's access to all that is, right?
Yeah. And all that we want it to be.
And that's all now imagine that's all everyone is doing. Like that is what, sorry, they're not doing it, but that is what everyone's potential is to do. That's pretty cool. We may be doing 20% of that. I don't think we're doing 20% of it. On a worldwide basis. We can't because they say 80% of what we do focus on live in is negativity. So that would only mean that the remaining 20 is neutral or positive.
Yeah, low frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Because our environment is overwhelmed with it.
Mm-hmm. So that's the best gauge I have to knowing those figures that someone made up. Yes, they may have researched them, focused on it, looked at it, and shared that.
Yeah, but the proportions are changing every day.
Yeah, they're not fixed.
Yeah.
They go in directions, just
Yep.
like a pendulum does.
Yeah, I had my pendulum out because I had to find out what time I was born, and I've narrowed it down with my pendulum. I just need to put it into the computer for this gene key thing now.
Cool. Awesome.
And it's true, then pendulums are really good when you start really playing with them and asking
Part of you
specific
knows.
questions.
Part of you knows.
See, it knows.
Exactly. Yeah.
It actually knows. I'm like, who would have thought about a crystal on the end of a bloody string could
Yep.
give you so many accurate answers to things?
But is it the
There you
crystal
go.
or is it the
What is it?
string or is it something else?
Well, it's
And
something
a-
else. It's
A
the
washer,
it's
a washer works too.
yeah.
A big washer works.
Yeah. My pendulum is a key on a string.
Wow. So it's anything.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not
It's the
It's not the-
unified
it's not the
field.
pendulum. It's the field. Yeah, exactly.
Field.
It's the question. It's the question.
The quantum field.
It's the question.
Oh, it's the question.
Yes.
It's the energy and the vibration that we emanate when we ask the question. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
I mean, it's always on the string and it's always there, right? How do you get it to move?
So it must be the vibration that we give off.
Well, it's the focus, the intention. I mean, we don't have to say anything, but I think it's really the intention, which, he puts the words to it.
Yeah.
My mom would use that to see where people's backs were out, like a chiropractor,
Oh, yeah.
because your natural would spin one direction, and then when she got to a point where your back was out, it would stop and go the other direction.
Is that right?
Hmm.
Wow. It's interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah. The motion is the field's response to your question.
Hmm. Or intention.
Yeah. And eventually you can do that without props.
And you can always do it without props. It's just whether you believe it or not, or can
Yep.
hear it, or can feel it, or whatever your system is.
Yep.
The point is, it was our first system.
Ah, well said.
See, and then earlier on, you said you didn't know if you had a, like, what was it you said? The knowing, you didn't know the knowing was as strong. Well, there you've just said it, just in a different way.
And my point is, like my definition of knowing, there's two definitions of that. One, I could say that knowing from the world's perspective matched with Craig's version of it. And then also that knowing, like, of the past, right? He used the word knowing in knowing and explaining the past. And then you, Ellie, went to knowing as coming from a higher version. All that is, and it's like, okay, so the same word, yes, can mean both, and I can orient to both of them, but I do have a dominating one, how I live in this world, which is knowing comes from my past.
Wow, that is so well explained.
Thank you. And when I think about, as it's relatively new, and yes, I did it as a first infant that I'm working to remember, as I look at that, all the field, all access to, all knowing, to me, it doesn't seem like I'm like knowing. It's more like I don't know.
Right.
And falling that, because my pattern has always been to know. I mean, damn it, I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
And so in a conversation, you can see how people can make up other meanings of the words that you know what you mean of them.
Yeah.
Which takes us full circle around. We really don't need to listen to the words. We just need to be listening to the charges.
Yeah, that was a huge insight for me. Was listening to the charges. Like even that I could do that in the first place, but then that I could practice doing that every day, practice listening to the energy.
Yeah, and we put so much attention on what people say.
Yeah. And what people might think.
Mm.
Yeah, attention on the words instead of the energy behind them.
Yeah.
And that's like in what they think. That's just a energy. That's a charge. As if we show up positive, like if we show up smart or powerful to everyone, like that's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And it would, I mean, just imagine if you showed up in your genius every moment.
Yeah, there's an end result to focus on.
Yeah. I want that.
And maybe we are. Who says we aren't?
Maybe some people are. I definitely don't feel it.
Well, I think as Craig pointed out, it's like those that are aware, there's still the resonance of the old structures as we move into new structures.
Yeah. Always. There's always bigger things. That's how we never get it done.
Yeah, the new energy can be scary,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why we get together and we play in it together,
Yeah.
is because that takes the edge off it.
And our history says change is risky. The unknown is just uncertain. And for uncertainty connected to survival, right? Uncertainty in the realm of survival is unacceptable. Or at least that's what they've sold us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and uncertainty in thrive mode is also unacceptable.
Uncertainty in thrive mode is also unacceptable.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
thrive
that's-
mode has become the antidote to scarcity.
Yeah.
Survival to fear,
Which is better. I mean, it's better.
well, maybe. Maybe not.
There's more room. There's more room.
Yeah.
Like in
Still
a
a box.
transition, right? It all is a box. We're a box. Until we're not. That's what meaning does, right? It defines the areas, the edges, the known and the unknown,
Yeah.
the awareness, the not awareness, the unaware.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
always
in a
an
box,
edge.
though. I'm in a box. I'm not the box.
That box has got to be somewhere.
I'm temporarily somewhere.
There's always a space and a time, as best I can tell. And then the next is the charge. But I think we fill our space with charges as time changes.
And that's our desires and our fears. That's our charges.
Mhm.
So which charge are we giving off more often than the other?
That's right. Will be the one you attract.
Will be the one you attract. Yeah. Good or bad.
Yep. Your choice to choose.
Yeah. Always our choice.
Choice is just space, more space, added space, additional space. But it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be either.
Yeah. Love that. I love that. Well, guys, I'm going to need to shoot off, but you two have the best day today.
You do the same. Thanks for joining us today. Really enjoyed your insight, your genius, your greatness.
Thanks,
Sleep
Jesse.
well.
Yeah, Ellie, you've been a lot of fun today.
Thank you.
You're always
Thanks,
fun.
guys. All right, I'll speak to you later. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Good
Hey,
night.
big love. Bye now.
It's so interesting. It's like 30 seconds before that, it was like, yep, she's checking out. It's like, oh, well, I could, but I didn't want to encourage it either.
Right,
It's like, I
right,
don't want to
yeah.
encourage it, but it's like, I know it's coming.
Yeah, that's future memory for you.
Yeah. Well, I can only go 30 seconds out on certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I counted it this morning. I looked at my clock right just before my alarm goes off. I looked at it and I counted, all right, because it was 1 minute before my alarm goes off. And so I counted it was 30 seconds. It's like I'm knowing and seeing more and more of those things, right?
Yeah.
And that's part of
exactly.
paying attention to it. It's part of after you start to pay attention to the charges when you're in neutral, then you can start to read things and then notice it and then wait for the confirmation.
Yeah. You start realizing that everything around you is actually significant.
Mhm. Well, they say
In
like
some
we can
way.
anticipate at least 6 seconds in advance, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's proven. It's somewhere around 6 seconds in advance, and we're not even aware of it.
Yeah.
That is all knowing.
Yeah.
It's only glimpses. It's only certain times. It's 3 or 4 times a day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be aware of everything every moment. Well, maybe you can at some point. I can't.
Not yet.
That's right. I mean, nothing would stand out if that was the case, right? So it'd be the same as nothing and everything become the same thing.
Yeah. And it's not that you don't have the capacity. One thing I'm noticing is that I'm just living more and more of my life in a kind of a meditative state. Or I prefer the word contemplative state.
Now, do we say that's better or worse? If we could use that word, I know it's limiting, but it's like, oh, is it better? Like, let's look at how it's better and it's worse. Let's look at better first. I know like in it, there's more choices. I see things as they are. I don't respond to them. So there's less stress.
Yeah.
With chaos, the chaos that's going on, like there could be all sorts of chaos going on, and it's like calm and like know what to do, focused on the outcome, the end result, and that shapes such different actions and outcomes and opportunities than being stuck in an old pattern.
Mhm.
No matter what's going on outside. That's key. That is a meditative state.
Yeah.
So hands down, to me, that is better. Now, is my life out there better as a result of it? Out there? No. To the world standards? No. Not yet.
But to your standards?
Mm, mm. No, not to my standards either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm just borrowing the terminology from Richard Rudd's
Mm.
three forms of awareness.
Mm.
On the one side, there's meditation, and on the opposite side, there's concentration. And contemplation kind of runs up the middle, and it's kind of a combination of both.
Hmm.
So it's kind of the neutral part of the spectrum between meditation and concentration. And I recognize it as a natural, I guess I'd call it a true nature comfort zone for me.
Mm. Contemplation.
Contemplation, yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
It's easy for me to dwell there.
Give me the definition of concentration from that perspective.
Concentration is would be laser focus, and meditation would be no focus. And so contemplation in the middle of those would be kind of a fuzzy focus. A really broad perception.
Where does society live most of their time?
Oh, totally in the concentration side.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the dis-ease.
Mhm.
That's the stress.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we're not designed to be in there 24/7.
Mhm.
And we act like we're trained to try to sustain it.
Well, it's a badge of honor until you break free of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Until you make enough money so that you can be the head of the big organization, the big company, or the new startup, have enough money so that then you can do it.
Right, exactly. but it wasn't easy and there was a price you paid.
Mhm. And not everyone makes it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let me tell you how good it is when you do.
Well, yeah. Well, exactly. And here I'm gonna sell you my 10 steps to how I got there.
Even though I'm not there yet, this
Even
is how
though-
I'm getting there.
Right. But I won't tell you that I'm not there yet.
Just farther ahead
Yeah.
on my way. It's yeah, amazing.
Yeah. So I can wave $1 billion in front of your nose and that makes me an expert at everything.
That too.
Yeah.
Well, of course, yeah, I know they know best. You know, actors that they get paid big money, you know, they of course they know best because they're really good at acting.
Yeah. They know everything because they're really good at acting. And because they showed up in the commercial
So crazy, isn't it?
and told you
crazy.
so.
So crazy.
I know. It's so freaking insane. Oh my goodness. Hmm. Yeah, intangible manifestation is kind of a tough sell.
Ugh. Being in the moment of now is a tough sell, right?
Well, that
Meditation
too.
is a tough sell. You know, anything that's not already anything against the existing background is a tough sell. Anything, if it isn't what they already know, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah. Well, and manifestation without a couple of commas is a tough sell too.
You know, and we look at like why. The question is why,
Yeah.
and it's we've attached it to make money with it, right? As a way to make money, and it's that means
Yep.
that the focus is on making the money. And
Well, it goes right back to the tree and the naked and the hiding and the shame.
And I mean, I don't take away that it takes money by any means.
Yeah. But it
It's
might
just
not.
well, right. I mean, what we do know is that that's the old structure. Now try and sell that to the new structure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is in a sense what you're doing, right? Or why it's not, or why it's a difficult.
So, and why even if you're starving to death, do you defend the old structure?
To get that, I don't understand that one either.
Yeah, I don't get that one either.
I don't. It can't last forever.
Nope. Which is exactly why it won't.
Which is why change is inevitable, right? And then
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it changes to, it's like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's why what it changes to is still intangible.
Mhm. But enough people will give up on that on that old structure.
Mm-hmm.
And those at the top will be the ones that have the farthest to fall
Mm-hmm.
and will fight like hell to keep it.
Yeah.
So it has to be something different than what they can buy.
Yeah. And I'm sensing that we won't have a choice. It'll get so that we don't have a choice.
That's the best thing. That is control, right? When you take choices away.
Yeah.
That's the that's what history tells us anyway.
Yeah.
But and then again, that's just continuing to play the old structures.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, humanity still has a choice.
Mhm. It's in the masses.
Yeah. Are we gonna make that choice? Or are we gonna put off making the choice until it's too late?
And I have no idea what the choice is. Or how it will look, right?
Well, the choice is for a new structure,
Mm.
a new society.
And I think something like that would take off pretty quick.
Well, a new society is coming,
Mhm.
whether we like it or not.
Mhm.
And Chris simplified it by saying, choose to live a life I love, right?
Mhm.
If everybody on the planet made that one choice, it'd change everything.
Mhm. If they made that choice, you bet. Just explored the question.
Yep. Yep.
What harm would that do?
How could it do any harm?
That's my point. So why be afraid of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, doesn't that create tension that it either will stay the same or get better? Isn't that have to be isn't that implied in the question?
Yes.
So what's so afraid? Why are we so afraid of asking that question?
Oh, there's 1,001 reasons for that.
But then, so none of them make any sense then. If it's going to, why not ask the question? If it's the worst thing is, it's going to stay the same. See the tension, see the charge that we've made up around those words, the definition of those words keeps us from asking that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our knowing, quote, our knowing, right? Our past knowing.
Yeah.
That story, that whatever, that the belief, it's really just a deep belief that says you can't have what you want
Hmm.
unless you work really hard for it. Like, who wants to do that?
Yeah.
And you're
Or
not even
unless you get
guaranteed to
really,
get
really
there.
lucky.
Yeah, you're not even guaranteed that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're not guaranteed anything.
So why not ask? Why not explore? This is what I want. Why, like what's, even if you don't believe in anything, it's like, wouldn't that be a better question to ask than
Yeah.
why I can't have anything? And we're like, ugh. Whatever people are doing now, whatever I was doing before. And no, I have no proof that it works, except for
Yeah.
internally that no one just the experience of it. Like it's the
Yeah.
all knowing. I know that that's the way that it works. I just still am fighting an old structure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's the structure that you're actually fighting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The structure I was trapped in, that we're all trapped in,
Yeah.
that is not working for us.
Yeah. It perpetuates all the stuff we don't want.
Mhm. And for whatever reason, that's better than focusing on what we do want.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we keep feeding it.
Yeah, when you see it,
You know, it's a monster that's ravenous, and we just keep feeding it.
unaware, unaware that that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Distracted, entertained, looking for the secret formula, someone to tell it to us. And only listen to those that have the commas behind them,
Mhm.
which just feeds them more commas.
Mhm. Yep.
Where do they get those commas? Oh, from the rest of us.
Yep. Just makes the monster bigger.
Oh, maybe I'm seeing it wrong. I sure really would like it to change, though.
Yeah.
Now that I'm
Yeah.
aware, there's no
Yeah.
unaware.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. Hey.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can deny it, however. Or rationalize it away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can pick up whatever story we want. And that's the truth. And there'll be outcomes to those stories. That's the truth. Yeah. Prove to someone life can be less stressful. Prove that to someone. Prove that it's a better way of living. Remove the pressure. Prove that that's a better way of being. The point is, it's just no, both, either both of them, all of them are the stories that we make up about it.
Mhm.
And most of it's unknown that that's what we've chosen. Not our truth, someone else's truth. Unexamined.
Yeah.
The power of structure. Definitions are structures, words are structures. The space between them, we create our charges from the definitions.
Yeah. Yep.
You familiar with Peter Segal? I think is his name, Peter Segal, S-E, Segal.
Yeah,
He's
rings a
an
bell.
author.
Yep.
He's a channeler.
Yep.
He's written many books, 9 books, I think now. I watched him on a podcast. Oh man, it was so good.
His name Peter?
Yeah. Let me see. Let me spell it for you. Yeah. Selig, S-E-L-I-G. Paul, sorry.
Selig. Paul Selig.
Selig.
Yeah.
Paul Selig.
Yeah, I'm really familiar with him.
Mm.
Yeah. Have you seen him channel live?
I didn't watch a live one. I watched him on a podcast,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
replay of a podcast.
Because
but yeah,
every sentence he says it twice.
twice. Yeah.
It comes in and he kind of says it, and then he expresses it again. It's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, yeah, Paul Selig. Yeah. See, a little background with respect to me and all that. When I came to realize that I was a channel, I started reading and listening to other people's channeling. And what totally amazed me is how in sync what was coming through me is with everything that's coming through everybody else. It's like it's holy crap. So this is coming from 10 different directions and it all agrees. It's like, oh my goodness. So yeah, Paul Selig. So which book did you read?
I haven't yet.
Yeah, I think his first book was called I Am the Word, I think.
Mhm.
And that's the one, that's the first one that I found. But he's got about 12 books. He works with someone else who actually transcribes his channeling. They used to do it over the phone when he did his first books.
Yeah, that was what blew me away was the similarity to it.
Yep. Yep.
You know, it's like the concepts that I've been developing, right? Or like we've been working through,
Mhm.
and it's like to hear it, it's like, yeah, that's wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you think you're crazy until you run across other people who are saying exactly the same thing, and then you realize that there's a lot of people out there that are on the same page.
Mhm. And then we're all crazy.
Yep, exactly. And it's a fun crazy.
Mhm.
It also tells me that that the capital T truth isn't going to come through a single person. It's going to be a combination of many.
Mhm. It has to be.
And so yeah, and so nobody can own it. Nobody can copyright it. You know what I mean? Nobody can exploit it on their
Mhm.
own.
You know, it's like you know, every heart needs to hear it their way,
Right, exactly.
and
Yeah.
not just from one place, because it can't be from one. It's got to begin to come from everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the nature of the field,
Mhm.
right? Is that it comes from everywhere. Hmm.
Well, what do we wrap today up with? I forgot what I even called it. Creating life a whole new way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, here's what came to me. So I'll speak it out. Stay open. Keep the spaces open.
Be aware when you're not in neutral,
Yeah,
when your charge is not neutral, when your charge is celebrate the positive charge. The expanding charge celebrate.
yeah.
And work to get out of the negative charge, aware of it, identify it, see what's there, allow it.
Life creates itself.
Life creates feedback. It's what we do with it.
Life perpetuates itself.
And when we can focus on what we want, we can focus on what we love, we can focus on the expanding emotion. That's what it'll draw us to.
Yeah, we can stand in it. Stand in life energy.
And then we begin to, in each moment of now, we begin to look for that expansion, that positive charge when there's space. When it's light, like light, not heavy, not pressure, but when that is light, we can move. Our thoughts can move. It's all we have is now. And all that, like all there is the charge, the emotion, the feeling. Aware of the definitions that we create. We've known, we're familiar with.
Yeah, and the meanings we've given.
That meaning creates the charge.
Yep.
The words have no meaning. We've created the meaning about them, to them, for them, of them. Well, Craig, have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, Jesse.
And thank you. Enjoyed being here today with you.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah, and thanks to Allie for showing up today.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, blessings.
Yeah, you